Howdy! Welcome to the ice cream flavor graveyard. Ice cream flavors can come and go as trends change, so a surprising amount of flavors end up here. Some of these ice creams were discontinued because they just tasted bad, had a terrible title, or maybe they had nuts in them. For some reason, having nuts in your ice cream tends to almost doom it to fail. So let's try and investigate why these failed. Let's check out the 10 worst ice cream failures. Yes, but ice cream. Some of these ice creams were discontinued before the internet was as established, so I may have to take an educated guess on why they were discontinued. But I've researched as best I can, and hopefully I'll at least provide you with an interesting opinion. Let's begin. And starting with number 10, Hagen creme brulee. Ah, mon chéri, the creme brulee. This translates to burnt cream. Ah, burnt cream. The French are so romantic. But Hagen-Dazs is well known for classing up their ice cream with fancy pants titles like this. Another example is the bourbon praline pecan. Or how about the chocolate salted fudge truffle? Or how about the chocolate sea salt caramel heaven light ice cream? You sure these people aren't getting a little carried away with the titles? There's also the dulce de leche churro ice cream. I'm sorry, I can't even pronounce that. Guys, you can only fancy up sugary fatty cream so much. It's ice cream. They're not so much mincing words as tossing their titles in a blender for an hour and then turning on the Google Auto French Translate.
Chocolat sel de mer caramel paradis.
And there's an absolute truckload of these things. But no creme brulee. Maybe it was removed because the title wasn't the minimum length of 2 paragraphs. Because this flavor is actually sorely missed and had a lot of fans. It was basically a custard ice cream with caramelized sugar swirled through. And honestly, even to me, that does sound kinda tasty. And website reviews were also very positive. Apparently, many reviewers of Hagen-Dazs consider themselves ice cream connoisseurs. And I think that's fair because if they can actually say the names of these ice creams, well, they're far more sophisticated than me. Turi called it creamy and delightful. She said it reminded her of the real burnt cream dessert. H. Lee called the flavor very rich and the cream very smooth. While Gigi said the flavors do not overpower, but meld together in happy bites. I gotta admit, even reading their reviews they sound more sophisticated. So why'd this flavor get removed then? Well, according to Hagen-Dazs themselves, they say it was in pursuit of the next great flavor. Which sounds like marketing jargon to me, of it didn't sell well enough. But hey, maybe Hagen-Dazs and its fans really are very passionate about ice cream. And if they are, good for them. Hagen-Dazs certainly has its fans. Number 9. Hershey's Mounds ice cream. You know we've got a fun ice cream flavor when I can't hear the title without snickering a bit.
Mounds. Mounds.
I'm sorry, I'm very immature.
Mounds.
Nin, honey, I can't review this one without snickering like a 15-year-old. Can you help out?
Sure thing, honey. Tammy Dunn reviewed this ice cream and may be able to tell us more. What does he say about these mounds?
Well, they're small. They're tiny.
Well, it's not all about size, is it?
That's right, taste is what matters most. Do they taste sweet? Apparently they taste like Klondike bars.
Wait, what's that?
Well, it's your basic vanilla ice cream, except Mounds has coconut spread all over it.
Really? Will I have this skin doctor?
No. Honey, it's an ice cream.
Oh!
Though that does lead us to the elephant in the room. Ice cream is often one of those junk foods intended to invoke a sense of indulgence in more ways than one. But perhaps the Mounds ice cream was a little too on the nose. I mean, Toblerone shows all the subtlety of a punch in the face. But ice cream brands, they're normally a little more subtle than this.
Oh, like Magnum ice cream is with their pleasure store?
Well, yeah, there is that one.
What about that connoisseur ice cream ad? She's using a very seductive voice.
Thrill your senses with decadent caramel honey macadamia.
Okay, fine, I admit it. Ice cream has all the subtlety of a Carl's Jr. ad. Anyway, there's not a lot of info on why these Mounds were discontinued. Hershey's released the ice cream in 2012, basing it off the Mounds chocolate bar.
Who eats a Mounds bar?
I do.
but it quickly disappeared off shelves as suddenly as it appeared. My best guess is there just wasn't a big audience for coconut ice cream. Or immature people like me couldn't stop snickering at the frozen food section. And for number 8, the Magnum Double Pistachio Honey. Nothing like a pistachio ice cream without any pistachio.
I know what pistachios taste like, and this ice cream does not taste like pistachios.
I mean, was Magnum expecting customers to love an ice cream that outright lied to their faces? Back before it was discontinued, I looked at how Amazon customers reviewed this thing, and many echoed the same single problem. Gee, it sure would be nice if the pistachio ice cream tasted even remotely like pistachio. And yeah, surely that isn't asking too much from the ice cream manufacturers. There were some positive reviews, but others claimed this ice cream had a sour taste to its chocolate.
Oh! It's sour! It's so sour!
Sour chocolate? Ugh. I never heard of sour chocolate before, but it sounds pretty horrible. One customer even claimed it was the first ice cream they ever threw away. But let's take a closer look at the taste. Ice Cream Meltdown reviewed it on his channel and he was pretty underwhelmed. And surprise, surprise, he couldn't taste any pistachios in the Magnum Pistachio.
I can't really tell on the pistachio flavor yet.
He gave it about 3 stars and said he only tasted the honey flavor. I gotta say though, at least visually, it does look pretty tasty when he opens it up.
You'll see there's chocolate kind of all throughout.
Full Circle Review echoed the exact same issue. Overall, for an expensive ice cream like Magnum, both reviewers seem pretty underwhelmed by the taste. So, will the non-pistachio ice cream ever return? Well, according to Amazon at least, they don't know when or if this Magnum Honey Pistachio ice cream will ever be back. And Magnum themselves on Twitter have confirmed it was discontinued. And with these middling to bad reviews, it doesn't really surprise me that this flavor disappeared off the market entirely. But you know, this ice cream's older brother, pistachio flavor, actually got its own Change.org petition, asking, nay, demanding on Change.org that they bring back pistachio as a permanent item. And well, it got a whole 7 supporters. So I guess it's pretty clear, Magnum and pistachio were never destined to have a lasting relationship. Maybe next time make your pistachio flavor taste like, pistachio.
Yes, makes sense. Good call, staff.
And for 7 lucky 7, Starbucks Java Chip Frappuccino. Believe it or not, Starbucks used to be in the supermarket ice cream business. Until one fateful day in 2013, they finally gave up the ice cream business altogether and returned to their tried and true reputation of slightly less burnt coffee than McDonald's. The Java Chip Frappuccino was a pleasant combination of coffee ice cream with chocolate chunks. You can still order a frozen coffee of the same name straight from Starbucks, but it's a far cry from the supermarket ice cream itself. In fact, some people thought Starbucks ice cream was actually better than their coffee. The ice cream itself first became available in 1996. It was basically a way for people who like caffeine to get their hit in an ice cream form. There are actually a whole bunch of flavors, including caramel macchiato and mocha frappuccino. And how did they taste? Well, according to the reviews, people really liked this flavor. A reviewer on Delish called the ice cream tasty, nuanced, and holding enough coffee flavor to set it apart from other coffee ice creams. This was one of the first reviews I could find that said it liked Starbucks ice cream far better than its coffee. The Foodly website claimed the Starbucks ice cream wasn't as creamy as other ice creams, but it was tasty and very energizing. But no matter how hard I looked, I couldn't get a straight answer on why Starbucks ice cream was so suddenly removed in 2013. Fans certainly seemed to miss it. My personal guess is there simply wasn't a big enough market for supermarket coffee ice cream. From my own experience, when I used to work the BP service station shift, I would sell 98% of my ice cream on the nighttime shift. As Ben & Jerry's have discovered and capitalized upon, singles and couples generally have ice cream cravings when they're sitting down for the night and want to unwind and indulge. Generally not before a morning work shift. When someone came into my station wanting a caffeine hit, normally they'd just want an iced coffee or I'd brew them a proper coffee. And they generally wanted it fast. They've got places to be. They've got no time to sit down eating ice cream. But overall, Java Chip coffee ice cream was well missed by fans. I just don't think the market was there for it. Number 6. Ben & Jerry's Wavy Gravy. This may surprise you, but Ben & Jerry's actually has its roots in the hippie movement, way back when Ben & Jerry's was founded in 1978. So they named one of their ice cream flavors off the famous entertainer from Woodstock, Wavy Gravy, aka a positively ill classic hippie flower geezer icon, but also a very charitable man. And thus, we ended up with perhaps the most gross-sounding ice cream flavor in recorded history. Despite the name, the ice cream thankfully did not contain gravy.
Oh, thank God.
According to Ben & Jerry's, it contained caramel, cashew, almonds, and chocolate hazelnut fudge swirl. The ice cream attempted to launch in 1993, but it failed. It was briefly resurrected in 2005, but then discontinued again. The 2005 relaunch was mainly due to a very small but very dedicated cult following this Wavy Gravy ice cream has. Apparently some people really liked this ice cream despite its terrible name. Just gravy and ice cream, ugh.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up.
The co-founder Ben of Ben & Jerry's was really impressed by all the charity work the man Wavy Gravy had done in entertainment, including the Sever Foundation, which has restored sight to over 5 million people. He wanted to honor the man who was actually living his life according to the peace and love slogan of the hippie movement. He wasn't just saying peace and love, he was living it. And that is indeed very respectable. I just don't think that any ice cream with the word gravy in it makes for an appealing flavor. So how does Wavy Gravy actually taste? Well, since it was originally made in 1993 and the internet simply didn't exist yet, it was pretty hard to figure out what people actually thought. The website Mashed described the taste as nutty and zany, while the website Insider described it as being a strong taste of caramel and nuts. So basically, Wavy Gravy was a nut lover's dream. But when Ben & Jerry's, a Twitter with over 500,000 followers, brought the flavor back up in 2018, interest was almost non-existent. It only got 83 likes, and almost every comment was pestering them to bring back a different flavor. So it looks like the most unappealing ice cream name in history may stay dead this time. But respects to the man it was named after, for all his hard work in charities and fundraisers. That is worth way more than any silly ice cream flavor will ever be worth. Number 5. Ben & Jerry's Black and Tan. Oh my, that's a bold title. Ben & Jerry's made this ice cream to pay homage to the popular beer in the UK. The beer itself is basically an ale mixture in a pint glass. Personally, I don't drink, so I've never tried the beer and I don't think I ever will. So why was this ice cream removed? Well, unfortunately, Ben & Jerry's didn't realize the drink's name came from the paramilitary police force recruited during the Irish War of Independence. And that was a group renowned for its brutality. This black and tan flavor was basically evoking some memories of the worst days of British military oppression. Understandably, some Irish ice cream fans reminded Ben & Jerry's of this unsavory connection. Ben & Jerry's realized the massive mistake they'd made, apologized, and immediately halted production of the ice cream, which I think was in very good taste of them. In fact, Ben & Jerry's so quickly removed black tan ice cream from the market, I can't find any trace of a taste tester ever trying it in 2006. Ben & Jerry's stated this flavor was for beer enthusiasts, so likely the taste resembled a stout and pale ale mixture. Without the alcohol, obviously, because it's freaking ice cream. Probably the most similar flavor I could find was Urban Bourbon. Good Mythical Morning tried it out, and apparently it's a whiskey-flavored ice cream, which honestly sounds pretty gross to me. And the boys weren't too impressed either, giving it one of their absolute lowest scores of 24. And even if it weren't offensive, I can't imagine customers were breaking down the door for beer-flavored ice cream anyway. Like, who would want to evoke the taste of beer in their ice cream? It's beer, it already tastes like butt.
Not a huge fan of whiskey flavor in my ice cream. 17.
7.
Number 4. Dove Caramel Swirl Ice Cream with Cashew. What is it with these nut-based ice creams being inherently doomed for failure? Take note, ice cream makers. Apparently if you want your ice cream to fail, just add nuts. But unlike the Magnum Pistachio, people seem to actually like the Dove Cashew version. This little treat was made with vanilla ice cream swirled with caramel and dipped in Dove milk chocolate. Reviewers like Katrina thought, The combination of caramel, cashew, and chocolate combined well with the outer shell's taste. Sarah called it ridiculously smooth and creamy, which is actually pretty high praise. But she also said it wasn't phenomenal and pretty expensive without a coupon. And for many, cost is certainly an important factor nowadays. She said it was like a fancy toffee version of a Crunch Bar. Overall, it actually sounds like Dove knocked this one right out of the park. So why could this ice cream have failed? Well, here's my theory. I looked at multiple reports on the 11 most popular or high-ranked ice cream brands and noticed that Dove didn't make a single list. I believe Dove may struggle to keep a foothold outside of the chocolate industry simply because there's too much competition already in the ice cream industry. There's already too many dominant ice cream brands that people love. Companies like Ben & Jerry's, Hagen, and Magnum just dominate the industry already. I think there's just limited wiggle room outside the top 10 ice cream brands for competitors. So I guess Dove chocolate will just have to settle for being one of the world's most high-selling candy bars at over 145 million bars sold per year. Oh Dove, I feel so bad for you. Yeah, they're fine, we're moving on. And for the third ice cream failure, Ben & Jerry's Fossil Fuel. Oh, not the best name Ben & Jerry's could have come up with. I feel like you couldn't have made your ice cream name any less appealing if you just outright named it Frozen Mud. But what was this ice cream, and why is it labeled after one of mankind's most threatening environmental dangers? Well, it was a sweet ice cream with chocolate cookie pieces, fudge dinosaurs, and a fudge swirl. I guess they called it Fossil Fuel because it contained dinosaurs. Even though, you know, most fossil fuels are actually derived from plants. But Ben & Jerry quickly realized that labeling their ice cream after the biggest environmental concern in human history might be a minor error, and they very quickly discontinued the flavor. In fact, they backpedaled so quickly that they actually made a protest ice cream, and the message was aimed right at the ex-Prime Minister of my own country, Scott Morrison. Ben & Jerry's made the Unfudge Our Future flavor, intended to encourage Scott Morrison to take up less fossil fuels and more renewable energy sources. And, you know, that is a respectable message, and that would be great. So needless to say, with Ben & Jerry's having such a socially conscious company image, they didn't even want the word fossil fuels in one of their ice creams, which is fair enough. We believe that fossil fuels, whether ice cream or the real thing, belong in the ground. Why am I making Nixon sound like an environmental activist? Anyway, more power to you, Ben & Jerry's. What do we have next? Number 2. Hershey's Reese's ice cream. Well, that's a combination I wasn't expecting. Hershey's chocolate plus Reese's chocolate plus chocolate ice cream equals possibly too much chocolate? Well, maybe it was, because it appears Hershey's discontinued it. It all started with Hershey's making ice cream. Not to be confused with Hershey's Ice Cream Company, which has somehow still not been successfully sued by Hershey's in their over 100-year feud. Anyway, Hershey's owns Reese's, so in 2011, they teamed up to bring together Hershey's ice cream with Reese's peanut butter cups, all into one massively fatty calorific Cthulhu. It was made available in the Philippines, but as far as I can see, it never made it to the USA or anywhere else. In fact, the last record I could find of someone reviewing it was in a Philippines review in 2011. Brian Ong reviewed it in his travel log in the Philippines. He called it a peanut butter fanatic's fantasy come true. He tasted typical Hershey's chocolate ice cream mixed with Reese's peanut butter chunks. Michelle reviewed it too, but she and her brother were actually quite disappointed. Like, it's hard to screw up chocolate ice cream, so that tasted okay, but there were barely any peanut butter cups mixed into it. Her brother Ken commented that you have to let the ice cream completely melt before you can even taste any peanut butter cups. I'll give my best guess on why I think the Hershey's Reese's ice cream was discontinued so quickly. In checking reviews, I noticed that mostly adults over 30 tended to enjoy this one. And when I looked at commercials for this Filipino Reese's Hershey's ice cream, it became pretty clear that the ice cream was targeted towards kids.
And Dad will be the king.
So maybe Filipino kids just weren't interested in the combination of Reese's peanut butter cups with Hershey's chocolate ice cream. Or maybe they just decided that Reese's peanut butter ice cream was enough. But even that's not quite the same, as that's more of a Reese's peanut butter flavored ice cream. But I think that's probably the closest we're going to get to this discontinued original. And for our number 1 ice cream failure, Snickers Peanut Butter Brownie Ice Cream. Snickers may be the world's best-selling chocolate bar, but they've actually had some surprisingly rough fails in the ice cream department. One of their biggest controversies was actually relatively recently in 2021. You see, it was discovered that some of their products contained too high levels of ethylene oxide, which is an excellent antifreeze chemical for ice creams, but is also carcinogenic and can potentially cause cancer in larger doses. At least according to the National Cancer Institute, which I personally consider a very trusted source. And because of this, Mars had to do a massive recall of all of their peanut brownie ice cream bars, and many of their other ice cream products too. This all resulted in plummeting sales. And it appears as of this video that the Snickers Peanut Butter Brownie ice cream was a long-term casualty. Mars hastily removed these items from shelves. Although websites began announcing this Snickers Peanut Butter Brownie in March 2021, by the end of 2021 it was already disappearing off shelves. But after the recall, why didn't the Snickers Peanut Butter Brownie ice cream ever come back? It puzzled me too because the non-ice cream version of the peanut butter brownie is still available. My personal guess is, as the world's best-selling candy bar, Snickers may have run into the same problem as Coke did with their new Coke product. Customers may have been so conditioned to the taste of the regular Snickers ice cream that a variation of the ice cream just didn't interest them. Perhaps when people want the Snickers ice cream, they want the original Snickers ice cream taste. Another possibility I thought was, maybe the Snickers peanut brownie couldn't survive the freezing without the carcinogenic antifreeze they previously used in it, ethylene oxide. So if the brownie wasn't storing right as an ice cream, maybe they couldn't sell it. The product itself is basically brownie ice cream with Snickers-style peanuts and caramel. But finally, my favorite part, how did it taste? Well, Matt's ice cream show reviewed it. He compared it to the candy bar. His first comments were, it didn't taste at all like a brownie. It didn't even taste much nuts. And given nuts is the whole tagline ingredient of Snickers, not being able to taste that means we're maybe onto a small little problem with the ice cream. He preferred the ice cream to the candy bar, but overall it just didn't get great reviews. But I like to taste test myself when I can. So I froze one of the regular Snickers bars and thought I'd try it out.
2,000 years later.
It was very frozen. I can definitely taste the brownie. It's got that nice kind of caramelly aftertaste, but the majority of what you can taste is the fudge brownie. It's not a pleasant fudge brownie. Overall, I don't think I'm finishing it. Overall, I'm starting to see why it disappeared. No more Snickers fudgy brownie ice cream for us, and I'm okay with that. And I think that's enough failed ice creams for today. Thank you for joining me. If you remember an ice cream that you used to like that you simply can't find anymore, or you have your own thoughts on some of these ice creams I mentioned, feel free to leave your own thoughts in the comments below. I always welcome your thoughts. And as always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I might see you next time.